Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Downtime Activities, and welcome back to the Curian Empire, our 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons campaign, kind of using an Epic 6 rule set and taking place in a knockoff of the ancient Mediterranean and surrounding countryside. You guys are nowhere close to the fake ancient Mediterranean. You're all the way up in the homeland of the dwarves, trying to
unite clans.
Unite clans to push the Curian Empire out of essentially the halfling and dwarf homeland. You've been allowed to spend the night, despite one of you being in exile from one of the clans that you are staying with.
Yeah,
and you have some. Then you guys have some headings and kind of have some loose goals. So
let's go trick some bird people.
Yeah.
Know some people who really like their bird. They're not bird people per se.
They're bird people like dog people are dog people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wording is important.
They're bird like dog people are dog people. You know, they don't do anything unless their dog tells them to.
Kill your parents, Tracy. I will, God.
Let's go trick. Let's go hope that this bird is all about our war effort, and if not, trick them into thinking their bird is all about our war effort.
Yep.
So you guys will be like essentially just sent with a scout who knows where White Raven clan currently is, and you guys will be taken farther north for a couple of days. To the point where like you're essentially kind of heading out into moors and like highlands, and like the camp that you guys will be led to is, I mean, obviously smaller than the combined camp you just left, and probably a little bit smaller than either of the two clans even by themselves, Oakwall and Braided Hair, and seems to be built up very much around sort of a sacred grove, as well as like a circle of standing stones.
Wolf, do you know of any other dwarves that have magic like you?
No. No. As I was the only one in my clan. So this is my first interaction with other dwarves who have this.
Be interesting to see what they're capable of.
Yeah.
Show me what you got.
Show me what you got.
It just sounds like if this isn't like more nature based, if their white raven could be an actual raven or someone that's a seer that goes by white raven. And either way, that
Either was possible. Who knows? Who knows what's been concocted here?
Or an actual seer that is a white raven.
Yeah.
Dang. It's
I guess.
a bird with white feathers tinged with red, wearing a little blindfold.
But would a dwarf tribe follow a non-dwarf leader?
I released 10 feral cats into the room with the birds here.
And we wait.
Canonically, I have a place where you could get a bunch of feral cats if you need them.
God.
We'll put a bit in there.
Would a dwarf tribe follow a non-dwarf leader?
Because in most, because dwarfs in this are like following Norse culture, isn't it?
It's very Celtic.
Very Celtic.
Yeah.
It's like, so isn't it like they're... Yeah.
My assumption is an older but wise seer or leader.
I think it's just a weird looking bird, and they're like, it's a sign from the gods. We must do what the bird says. They look over and the bird shits.
I was going to say, does it shit
Hooray!
yes or no?
We plant here!
Fertile ground. I don't know though.
There are, as you guys are kind of approaching this like clans camp, there are a lot of ravens here. You don't see any white ravens approaching the camp, but there are quite a few that just sitting and watching.
Bad omen.
Yeah,
No, depending on your culture.
not in my culture.
Maybe not to them, but possibly everyone else.
Bad omen, gods aside, to see a bunch of carrion feeding birds.
I guess we start to approach.
It's back on the menu, boys.
Looks down at the three of us walking up. What about them? They're fresh.
They are not for eating.
What about their legs?
Just a mouthful.
We got this. Focus up. Go talk to your friends, I guess.
Friends is a strong word, but
I assume you. I mean, as the dwarf,
Go talk to your species.
you are going to be doing a lot of the.
I know it's gonna
talking.
You guys will be brought into the camp and sort of brought kind of up to the edge of this kind of sacred grove in this standing stone circle. It's like you guys are getting a lot of the same looks of just the what in the fuck are these two? But you're not getting any of the the looks you're getting seem to be recognizing you as a priest and not as an exile.
Mm-hmm.
The scout that brought you guys here seemed as much as possible is kind of makes introductions and kind of informs dwarves of this clan as to the point of the trip, but then they kind of just drift to the background.
Do I have weird hair?
Yes. Should have just left it.
You fixed it.
Thank you.
This looks increasingly unhinged in every recording.
Next
and-
recording, he's shirtless. Okay, focus.
And you guys will eventually be approached by again, sort of a collection of clan warriors who are armed but not necessarily armored, and a handful of what seem to be druids or shamans, as well as the leader seemed still quite fit, but not currently carrying a weapon and walking with a staff with sort of a crook at the end of it. Is a much older dwarven woman, and sitting atop the crook on the staff is a snow white raven.
Cool.
Who immediately all three of you can roll perception checks or insight checks, either one if you prefer one or the other.
Perception.
I know I just rolled, but can I just re-roll because you said insight. And
Well, you can just take the number, but just
okay,
choose
so that's
which of the
that's a
things
12.
to- Okay.
I know I just rolled, but can I re-roll again? Because this one sucks. No, I was kidding. I got a 17 on perception. 17 on perception.
My insight is higher, so 14 on insight.
14 on insight,
12 on
12
insight.
on insight. You can tell with perception, this bird is really watching the three of you pretty intently. It isn't just a bird, just looking around being a bird. It has taken immediate notice of the three of you and is actively paying attention. Both of you would notice with insight rolls that there's
Some spirit, magic spirit.
there is, but it's there seems to be almost some intelligence to this thing.
That bird's sentient.
It's not looking at you as just oh, it's this is a bird that's curious about us. It is looking at you in a almost faintly smug and interested way. There is absolutely an intelligence there. And you would know that Morgan is Morgan's symbol is the raven, and she's very much like Athena, as far as kind of a god of war and magic and wisdom.
But I think the chances this is an actual person as a bird.
It might be a somewhat of a embodiment of their goddess in the form of a bird, or it might just be some weird old druid who's no, I'm a sign from the gods. Feed me seed.
Oh, come on. If you were that level of druid, you'd do the same thing.
Give me
It's,
free
it's,
food.
it's that comic that Matty G sent where they're like, yep, this sword's cursed to shit. It's just like, hey, you want to trick a human into touching it? Like, it's like, yeah, we'll just convince them we're fairies or something. It's like, oh, yeah. It's like, I love churning out antagonists. Like, this will be fun.
Yes. I prefer the short web comic of the crow looking at itself in the reflection, being like, "Am I the prettiest bird? Bah, I guess it's all relative. Are there uglier birds? Sure. Are there prettier birds? No." That's so good. Well,
and you will all be introduced to Manath the Farseer, the war chief of the White Raven clan.
We would love to help, but we don't speak your language.
Yeah,
Have fun.
it's all me. I guess I'll introduce myself. I am Wolf Thornson of... do I mention I'm exiled from Clan Oakshield?
maybe not. Up to you. Whether you think that'd be useful or not.
Yeah. No, I'll just...
You could also say formerly.
yeah.
Or you could just say
clanless.
formerly of clan.
Okay, yeah. Formerly of Clan Oakshield. These are my companions, Tersius, Praxis, and Asim.
When I hear my name, I nod.
As at each of your introductions, the Raven kind of bows its head, as does the clan chief.
Keep a long story short, I've returned to this land on behest of my god to help in a way to drive out the scourge that is the Curians. We were told that you are waiting for the sign of your raven before you make way for war.
Our clan is particularly connected with the gods and with the spirits of this land, and it is best to not make decisions, especially ones as drastic as this, without seeking the permission of the gods first. And so far, the White Raven has not given us a sign that we should join.
Well, I'm all for agreeing with your agreeing on. I'm all for waiting for signs from the gods to make decisions like this. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for my God telling me to return. But we are hitting a critical point here. Galtram is looking to, as much as I don't agree with it, looking to make his move. And for the fairness of everybody, I won't force your hands, but I will say, to make this easier on everybody, once the scourge is gone, it would be helpful to have more assistance.
She'll just kind of invite you all in to sit down and talk.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be kind of the same thing where it's like I'm going to be asking for kind of multiple roles here.
Okay.
Because she's going to ask a lot about sort of the guidance you received from your god, and to some degrees kind of your travels and stuff like that. She's going to be asking about some level of tactics as far as what the plan is.
Oh shit.
Which you guys heard a lot about the night before.
Yeah.
And even just trying to get just kind of a read on all of you guys, especially because two of you are
Outsiders.
not just strangers, but strange.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna need a religion roll from you.
Okay.
I will, and depending on how that goes, it will affect do like persuasion rolls after that.
I'm assuming he can't have any help on this.
15.
Okay. Now you can make a persuasion roll with advantage after sitting and talking religion for a while.
Hey, natural 20.
Natural 20.
For
So,
a total
like-
of 17. Just kidding.
So, like,
You're not
it's
that
actually
unlikable.
a total of 19.
Natural 20 for a total of 2.
That's literally your what's his name? Your freaking spy from Total War.
Laticos.
Laticos. Laticos is the only person with a negative 18 in persuasion.
Oh, man. But man, if you needed a city to burn, if you needed an army starved, if you needed a country to riot, Laticos was your man.
Laticos was your man.
You just walked through the countryside and public order in the province just started falling. Which is why, like, it's like I'd be
Stepped
fighting
foot into their lands and everyone started starving and fighting each
I'd
other.
be fighting a great war in the north, and I had Laticos bumming around, literally just scouting for Erickson, like just like finding, like just like locating like enemy armies and like helping out his war effort and stuff like that. And it's just like something would happen, and Erickson would be like, "Great, thanks. Now get him the hell out of my province."
Get Laticos the fuck out of my city. All my soldiers are starving.
Well, yeah, so it's like he'd be in a city, and like Erickson would march in and take over the city, and they torn down every military fortification and building to build farms.
To try and make
To
up
try
for
and
how much food they were
And
losing.
all of their like units were at like a third strength because they'd all just been starved to death. So he like takes it over, but Laticus is still just sitting in the city that they just took over. He's like, "Great, get him out of
Get
here."
them the fuck out of my province.
It's like a walking one of the four horsemen.
No, Laticos was, and he was just this like kind of overweight, old, shirtless guy with face tattoos, a beard, and like wearing this like big, heavy black cloak.
Why
because he
shirtless
was,
in a cloak?
because he was a Celt. I don't know.
Oh,
Shadows are friends. Okay, Laticos.
Go starve the enemy army for me.
Why don't you head for like Mount Mongolia or something? for a
We'll
while?
get there eventually.
But he died at the ripe old age of like 75, still just bumming around causing trouble. Yeah, you're right. He would have a
Armies
team.
are friends.
Santa Claus.
So yeah, like so you guys kind of sit and talk religion for a while, as well as just like kind of your travels and your past, and like sort of the guidance you've received, and even just like the things going on in like kind of other clan camps and things you've seen, as well as like sitting down and talking tactics for a while, just like all of you kind of talking about like the things you've seen, the fact that you've like fought quite a few Curians before, like you helped break a siege.
Mm-hmm.
You know how they fight, you know like even just how their supply routes tend to run, and like their culture and their strengths and weaknesses and stuff. To it all of which the Raven seems to be listening pretty intently. And kind of by the end, and it takes most of the day that you guys are kind of sitting and talking, and like you take like both like lunch and dinner, like kind of.
I pull out the jug of beer again.
New day.
Like as you guys talk for a while, and you guys very quickly get the impression that it's the clan, by and large, has no trouble joining the war effort. Like they want to see the Curians pushed out, and they're happy to do their part.
It's the Raven that needs convincing.
They haven't been told to do it yet, and sort of by the end of the day, as you guys are kind of sitting in the sacred grove, and like as this conversation's kind of like finally wrapped up, Manath looks up at this Raven, who's at this point kind of like not sitting on the staff, but kind of sitting on
A perch.
sitting like nearby, and it kind of like it gives this like oddly sly look kind of back and forth between like the group of you and the dwarves and stuff, and just kind of like nods and quite distinctly in a woman's voice says the word war, and then flies off towards the south.
We have successfully.
Thanks, Athena.
Thanks, Athena. So,
Um,
but I'll hear that. Just be like, is that what we were waiting for?
Seems like a sign to me.
you can tell your clan chief that we'll join with you.
Understood. Well,
Spooky.
that's one. 3 more to go.
I think that was probably our best shot, 1, 2. So the next ones are going to be...
I think we go talk to the traditional dwarves next.
Yep. The ones who don't trust
That will
Galtron.
give his power up.
Yeah, I think they were the Warbringers?
War dog.
War Dogs.
Let's go release the dogs of war. Just know, once we let go, once we release those dogs of war, I can be able to put them back on the leash.
Julius, on his brief break
I'll,
from chain duty,
Yeah.
stands there and watches a dwarven clan called the War Dogs run loose and says something.
Havoc!
Yeah. Cry havoc and let loose. But let loose what? War Dogs, War Dogs, War Dogs. They're just like, they're throwing Curians in the air and burning down buildings. Just like, the dogs of war. Yeah. Good.
I'll look
Anyway,
at
back to the
our
trains.
I'll look at our guy and be like, will you relay the message to Galtron, but just point us in the direction of the War Dogs?
I think we should stay the night with the
Well,
Ravens.
I mean, obviously we'll stay the night, but it's just like,
Yeah.
He
Next day.
can do that.
So it's easier for us to just continue traveling than to go back and go back.
Zigzag.
So
And you guys, and the War Dog clan is farther north.
Okay.
just kind of follow the directions he gave us, and
Let's go talk to the war dogs.
yeah.
Okay. It will be another couple of days of traveling, and it will be another couple of days of traveling sort of north into the moors and into much more mountainous country. Before kind of in the middle of the afternoon, you guys will just be approached by a group of scouts, who just kind of like hail you and want to know who in the fuck you are and what the fuck you're doing tramping way up here north. What's this? What are you doing with Brother Dwarf? What are you doing with this big dog and this bronze statue?
I am.
We're looking for the wizard. I'm trying to find a heart, and he needs a brain.
Well, he needs courage.
No, he needs courage.
He needs courage. He needs courage.
Aren't you
I
missing
need a brain.
You need a brain. I need a heart.
For sacrificial purposes.
Aren't you missing a scarecrow? You don't want to know what happened.
After he calls, I'll just kind of reply. I'm Wolf Thornton, formerly of Clan Oakshield. Or Oakwall. God, I keep wanting to say Oakshield. It just sounds cool.
Oakenshield.
Oakenshield.
That's where your brain's going.
Yeah, Oakwall. These are my companions, Tersius, Praxis, and Asim. We are traveling to meet with Clan Wardog.
We can take you there, but I don't know what you hope to gain.
Hopefully some assistance and maybe alleviate any doubts you may have about the upcoming alleviate any doubts you have about Galtron moving forward.
You can try.
And it's worth a shot.
They'll take you back to the Clan camp, which is on the shores of a very pretty lake. Someday it will be called a lock, probably.
And there'll be a monster there.
Or perhaps a lady would distribute swords. But not for kings. Not for kings. It is a bit odd, though, that the guys are super against kings next to the lock. I mean, maybe that's where the lady of the lock is, and
Yeah.
what
will be giving swords to cause kings in the future.
Right, but you also have to remember that the castle that was likely, or that like a lot of historians think could be the historical basis for Camelot, was actually down either in Wales or down near Wales. So it's much farther south than Scotland. So
That's true.
and really the king distributing sword pond is really much farther south.
Distributing sounds like a very different kind of came upon a sword versus everyone get your sword.
Get your swords! Get your swords here! Kingly swords! Make you a king!
I would walk by that lake if I were you. Somebody in that lake will just throw a sword at you. And then you'll have to go off on a grand quest and
Your son will kill you.
Then your
you'll have to
uncle...
avenge your father. And then, look, it's really going to be a mess. I just wouldn't do it.
Yeah. Alright, yeah. Follow him to the clan. Let's see what happens.
Okay. It's kind of the same thing where you're going to be met by
The war chief.
Met by the
With
war
the
chief kind of
perception.
as you guys approach. He's shorter than Galtrim.
But as big as Galtrim.
He's probably whiter than Galtrim, but it's like there is not an ounce of fat on this dude. He is even right now as it's like once again it's really getting into the fall months now, and especially where you guys are now, it's quite a bit cooler. But he's completely shirtless, covered in tattoos, and he is a brick wall of a motherfucker. He's the type of guy that you're not sure he can move his arms all that far out of this position. Yeah, it's just like anybody, and he just kind of walks like that, and he has quite like flaming red hair and beard, and it seems unruly. It does not seem like it is not well combed or braided. You're not sure. It could be if you tried.
If this man can punch someone's heart out of there through the back of them.
Punch your whole rib cage out.
And this is the kind of man that folds people's clothes while they're still in them.
He can fold you, probably.
Fold clothes small enough to fit in a dresser with somebody's stuff.
Strong enough to get that 8 fold on a piece of paper.
Is that the trick?
You
can fold a piece of paper 7
you
times.
can't fold a
and
piece of
you
paper in
can't
half
fold
more than 7 times without like
an act
a
of
steamroller
God.
or an axe of God.
Interesting.
And I know you're thinking like,
It's impossible, but when you try
come
it,
on.
No,
As soon as you do it, you end up
that
with this
makes
little
sense.
tiny square of paper that's literally just like, it literally will not physically
it's like
fold.
a brick. And you're like,
Excellent Mythbusters episode about trying to fold a piece of paper.
yeah, they did it with a sheet, like
and
a
they-
massive sheet.
And they end up, I think, using a steamroller to roll over the top of it.
And yeah, they weren't able to do an 8-fold. Crazy shit. Science.
Science.
Yep.
That's pretty wild.
Anyway. And he looks you up and down with that same just kind of like, well, clearly this guy's a motherfucking warrior.
Respectable muscles.
Yeah, it would absolutely be that scene from Predator if you and him did that.
I think of like
You
Full
probably
Metal.
have to
Crazy
deal-
dwarf chief, you son of a bitch!
What's the matter? Tracking got you not eat. I don't know. God's got you pushing too many paperweights.
And he kind of looks all three of you up and down and just kind of like gives you the look of like, say what you're here to say, like, and there are here more so than like a lot of the places you've been. You guys are like kind of being watched constantly, not necessarily suspiciously, but it's like it seems like this whole clan is like interested to see what's about to go down.
Well, as I told your scouting part, I don't know if they told him anything. I think yes. As I mentioned to your scouts on our way here, I'm Wolf, formerly of Clan Oakwall. I've been sent back to the homelands by my god to, against my better judgment, help Galtrim really move the scourge that is the Empire off of our lands.
It's a noble pursuit, but
I understand your worries, your hesitancy to trust Galtrim. Honestly, I'm not a big fan of it either. But an attack is going to be happening soon. And no matter your doubts about Galtrum, as many as I have on my own, the gods have determined that regardless, he might be the one to help free our lands.
I believe we can win a battle. And Galtrum talks good talk, but that's not what worries me. It's not the war that my people is afraid of. It's what happens afterwards.
Is this all happening in Dwarvish?
Yes.
Yes.
A particularly traditional dialect of Dwarvish, not that you would know that.
You just really
A particularly Scottish dialect of Dwarvish, not that you would know.
And I understand. I necessarily don't have much hopes in trusting Galtrum afterwards. But at the moment, how can I phrase this?
I would... What Tersius would want to try and say, not knowing the full context of this conversation, is just like, either translate for me or say something to him like, when this is over, if Galtrum doesn't step down, we will kill him. Like, we will see to it that he is stepped down one way or another, and that the clans go back. Because that's like the only assurance, that's the assurance this guy needs, I feel like.
I'll translate what he says. Because I'm assuming he looks at Tersius like
perplexed. I turn like, I don't know what you're saying, but it seems like these people are plain to the point people, and from what they were saying before, sounds like his concern is with what happens if Galtrum wants to become a king. And my country, where I come from, we don't like one guy in charge either. We like to have our control of our place and our people, and that be self-contained. And anyone who's tried that up until the Empire has met failure because uniting for long-term doesn't work. And we can assure that
Galtrum
whatever oath needs to be made, Galtrum will step down, or we will see to it that he is ended.
I'll pretty much translate what he said, and I will back him up on this and be like, if need be, I'll kill him myself.
This small, extremely broad dwarf will come walking up to you, and he's like, he just like, he looks up and down, just like, and he just like puts out one hand.
One hand like this.
Mm-hmm.
I try to clasp a hand against his forearm.
Give me an athletics check.
This dude's gonna rip my fucking arm off. Which die do I use? I'll use this one. That balloon was fucking me earlier. 10.
10? He also didn't roll great. So it's like, it is just like, you guys want, it is like just two, just like huge muscly arms, just like trying to break the other person's arm through just like wrist strength. And it's just like, it's just these two huge arms, just like, and it's just like, and he just eventually kind of like nods, and he's like, I'll hold you to that.
I think we've got his we've secured his help. Well, that's 2 down. I kind of just tell him like what we're doing. It's like trying to get the last 2 clans, or last 4. White Raven is now on board, but
that's a good sign. That means the gods are with us.
But now we have the mystery as to why Stronghand hasn't said much, and the long conversation is going to need to be had between Long Axe.
Long Axe I don't know about. Stronghand, I've never liked him. Well, Barad particularly. Yeah. He's the type of man who would make himself king if he could. I'm surprised he didn't come up with Galtrum's plan before Galtrum did.
Yeah, it's not who's to say he didn't, but Galtrum was quicker.
Barad's always been glory hungry and has always been quick to fight, which is why him refusing to join the war effort so hard it's made a lot of people wonder. a lot of people in this clan in particular wonder if perhaps somebody's made promises to him to keep him out of the war.
Well, shit.
I don't know what you said.
I'm
Judging by the look I just got from Wolf, that was some real shit.
I'll just pretty much explain, like, we may have a bigger problem when it comes to strong hand than we know.
Curian
Quite.
subterfuge, perhaps?
Quite possibly.
Dude, I totally Kellen this. I guessed it and didn't say it out loud.
Likely story.
Yeah.
Well, no, that's different than Kellening it. Kellening it would be you saying it out loud and none of us acknowledging you as you did it. And then later on, that being the truth.
You just did a Brandon. You just knew it, but you didn't say it. So it's like, but you could be saying you knew it, so you.
I was like, how would there be four if one of them's not like influenced by the other side to stay out? Oh well. Moving on.
Well, part of me feels like strong hand needs to be like the last one we do, because if they
I don't know. I feel like the long axe should be the last one, because
I guess they'll need more.
we're just gonna have to like peer pressure. People just walk up and be like, "You're the only one who doesn't do it. You are shamed if you don't come with us.
Yeah.
Get over it."
You should be ashamed of yourself.
Shame.
Bill!
You see,
I'll,
this
The war
transcends
chief
like-
of Muck, the war chief of Putrescence. Bill!
I'll
Let's see if this transcends language.
What type of-
Boo-hoo.
Pussy!
push.
Now we gotta join the war, but otherwise that giant bronze elf's really gonna think I'm not cool.
Join the war of every gate. What? Join the war of every gate.
Okay. I'll ask about Melkon. Do you have any idea on the last known encampment for strong hands?
Well, relatively. They're quite a bit farther south, closer to the wall. Not right on the edge of it, still a few days, but much farther
I guess
south.
at this point we'll have to just make a trek back to Geltrum and kind of move south. I'm assuming Long Axe is also down south.
Mm-hmm. Long Axe should be farther north than Stronghand. Stronghand's southeast, closer to the coast. And Long Axe should be north of them, I think.
Yeah, they're totally influenced by the Empire right now.
If we can find that out and prove it, then
Well,
I think a lot of soldiers, at the very least, from that clan would not side with that.
Yeah. Well, I pull up, once again, as a peace offering, I pull out the alchemy jug full of alcohol, and I hand it to Melkon.
I mean, they've essentially agreed to march with you, so they're essentially just going to expect that you guys will spend the rest of the day and the night just, like, drinking and, like,
Yeah.
partying and getting hyped up for the ensuing bloodshed, which will probably include some... you will be offered
I take it.
mushrooms.
I take it.
If you would like to take them.
Before the partying starts, I do say, I need to relieve myself in the woods really quick. Walk out and go, keep on my phone. Keep on my phone. Oh, God. Let's do drugs!
I mean, it's worth saying that, like his arm seems redder than yours does. Like, in the aftermath.
Yeah.
But he's probably not walking out going,
What's that?
Turns out I've got a new tattoo as well. His fingerprints. Damn.
That guy's so ripped he has a handprint on his arm.
I'm assuming then, if we're just going to go back to Gaeltrum's before we make our way further south, that we'll just march with them.
If they're going to march with me right now.
They'll definitely begin like packing up and stuff. At least kind of the next morning after you know, because no army packs up better than on a hangover. Some amount of the night is wishy-washy for you as far as what you remember. You just remember feeling good, feeling like invincible good, just like it's like, and it's like you just like. You just remember, like, most of what you remember the next day is, like, last night I felt like I could take on the whole fucking army of them just by myself. Like, I felt good.
I want to go up to whoever gave me that shit and be like, can I have, like, a satchel of what you gave me last night? I feel like I could climb the walls of Curian and rip the Emperor's head off myself after that stuff.
If you're... the response is kind of like, if that's a promise, then there you go.
It's a promise of intent.
They will give you. It's essentially a small, like, and you can add this to your inventory if you want. You have a small ritual bag.
Okay.
With 9 doses of this mushroom. If you decide to use it in battle, then I'll explain what it does.
Don't
Okay.
forget to add one of your flaws is now a drug addict, though.
Flaws.
Okay.
Brandon, this is the ancient world. It's
Ideal.
It's just a thing.
Always willing to learn and try new things.
Remind us to have you avoid all meth and peer pressure situations.
You guys wait till we get to our China arc and I spend the rest of this
God,
strung out in a
opium.
den of opium somewhere.
Jesus.
Oh, man,
9 doses of battle.
I would have to do
Battle Shroom's cool.
that is an arc I would like just legitimately like China or like Korea and stuff like I would just actually have to do a bunch of like research on if you guys wanted to go do an epic 6 arc out there, but it would also be pretty
Super
cool.
It's like,
I imagine-
what race would be there?
Ooh, I mean, someone would have to be the like tiger like Tabaxi
yeah,
out there
yeah,
somewhere.
Dude, you gotta give me some of the fox. Some of the fox people. That would be...
Yeah.
Is there a race of fox people?
Yeah,
There's
you could
enough.
easily do you could easily do statistics for one.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That could be pretty cool.
There was a joke that the Mongol hordes were centaurs.
Centaurs, yeah.
Because they're
Mongols
just
were
like
centaurs.
they're horse archers.
There's a
I don't necessarily.
There's
know
a
if I know
short,
that or
very
not,
non-traditional D&D campaign that I watched the first episode of fairly recently from a channel, and it had this moment where they got like they're loading up into a wagon, and the wagon's like unhitched anything, and there's this like guy who's like a member of the company thing they're with that's a centaur. And like right before they go, he like goes around the corner, comes out with the horse, hooks it up, crawls it in like awkwardly side saddle, sits in the carriage, and guides it. And they're like, and this is like this awkward like, whoa, we thought you. And I thought that was amazing.
There's a bit in one of the Oxventure things where like a guest comes on for a couple episodes who's playing a centaur, but she's like is very like proper British, but she's a barbarian, so instead of a rage, it's getting miffed. And like, he literally uses like a riding crop as a weapon.
That's awesome.
It's very.
I would like to get miffed.
Yes, that's like I believe that is a direct quote.
That's cool.
That's amazing.
I love that.
Okay, so you guys are just gonna march with Clan Wardog.
Yeah, we'll guide them back to Oakwall,
Okay,
and, or the valley, and then
this is now turning into a proper war camp. By the time you guys return, clans Farai and Forestborn have arrived as well, which you guys have not yet met. And White Raven, you essentially encounter and march with White Raven on the road. So by the time you guys return, it is like this is an army now, like undeniable.
yeah. I'll kind of look over to Melkon and be like, as per our agreement, we will hold true. Best to not mention anything at the moment, till things are subsided.
For your sake, I hope it doesn't come to it.
For his sake, I hope it doesn't come to it.
Sharpening a knife.
Eating mushrooms. Oh, I just want to get naked and charge the front lines.
Takes a mushroom and goes on a barbaric rage. It's just like, nope. Yeah. Get to camp. I guess go look for Gaeltrim and Dunghill.
They seem impressed that over the course of like a week essentially you've managed to pull two of the clans who were opposed to this into the army. And it's like, and there's no like, well, I thought you weren't gonna show up. Like there's this kind of immediate just like, all right, good, you're here. Here's what your troops specialize in. Here's what this clan specializes in. Here's what our clan... Like, everybody's just kind of immediately, like... Everybody's treating this extremely professionally, and, like... It, at least at the moment, it seems like you guys have kind of smoothed over any dick measuring contests. And everybody seems to just be, like... It's like... And, Melkon won't necessarily tell Gaeltrim why he agreed. But he just says that, like, Melkon will just tell Gaeltrim that he still doesn't trust him. But, like,
I'm convinced
you convinced them to join the war effort. And obviously, White Raven's here because the gods told him to be. Which everybody takes as a good sign.
Did the White Raven end up at the camp?
You guys have not seen the White Raven.
Since it left.
It's
Yeah.
actually a messenger pigeon for the Curians.
Well, they're marching to war.
Better go tell the boys.
There go down the boy. Going to war.
It flew off to deliver a list of demands.
Ah, there you go.
Dwarves will come flooding out of the north and slaughter you all if the
Unless
following demands are not met.
you all leave or die, your choice.
Those are our demands. Goodbye.
Period.
Die. That is our demand.
You can choose to die or leave. We would prefer die.
Yeah, there's more honor in death, but we will not.
Sir, a messenger bird has delivered a message from the dwarves in the north. We believe it to be a list of demands. Fine, let me read it. It just says die, 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 die,
It's
die,
just
die, die,
Pulls die. Or else?
What can they possibly be planning?
It's like
What's
that-
the or else?
It's like that news article thing I saw recently about how there's a new law in North Korea that anyone to attempt suicide and fails will be executed because their suicide rate has gotten so high, which is really dark and terrible. But the fact that the law is anyone who attempts suicide and fails will be executed. It's like mission failed successfully.
You tried to kill yourself, but failed. Looks like we'll have to kill you.
Oh, okay. Thanks. Cool. What'd you get arrested for? Trying to jump into a bathtub with my toaster, but when I jumped in, it unplugged. So I got arrested. Oh, they're gonna kill you? Yeah, it turned out
squad.
yeah. I asked for a beheading, but they said this was quicker.
So, what are you in for? Attempted suicide. What are you in for? Attempted suicide. This is much cleaner than my attempt. Pirate squad. Honestly, it's better for everyone. Open casket this way.
Let's hope they're good shots.
What a terrible law. What a terrible country.
I'm a terrible leader.
Anyway.
Yeah, back to this fun world.
It's fun world where some things suck, but you can change them by
Fucking
rolling
shit
attack
up.
rolls or
Magic?
magic.
By literally
Magic's
fucking
pretty
shit
great.
up.
Yeah. Let's free North Korea. In a magical sense. In the world. Not in the real world.
Dear Arboretum, Kim Jong-un, these are our list of demands.
Oh, you're right.
Die or else.
Or Irish.
Pulls die, ... or else, ...
Or else what?
Hold on, let's let them attack. I want to see what this or else business is about.
They wouldn't dare. Or else.
Okay, so we're back at camp. I guess Gaeltrim. Where do we go next? Because Strong Hand's further south. We'll hit Long Axe on the way down.
Or we could hit on the way back. I feel like Long Axe being the last one
Is going to be
is
like
the
a
best
tougher
bet because it's like literally the entire country is united and you're letting
Except
two
you.
legitimate, like, honorable deaths be the difference between you joining and not.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a stronger argument than almost everybody else.
And I'll be like, honorable deaths is used loosely. We don't know the details. That's his story.
The other thing that you guys will notice, like being around here, as you're kind of like figuring out what your next step is, the clan that you guys are introduced to as Forestborn and Clan War Dog both don't spend all that long in camp before they just continue marching south. And Forestborn seems to particularly be kind of archers and skirmishers.
Okay.
So it seems like some of the clans are just like
We're here to get our
already-
assignment. And
yeah, they're already heading south to like whether it's to begin scouting or just to be in position for like when the attack comes. They don't seem to be like messing around necessarily.
Hell yeah.
I'll
then
nod.
maybe
I'll
we
nod
should-
to Melkon and.
Maybe we should hit the long axe on the way because we're not going to be doubling back or that if we want to have time to.
Well, is it just those two that
It's
are leaving?
just those two that are leaving.
So it seems. So I mean, we can
It's the
double back.
preliminary.
We can double back.
Okay.
We're probably gonna have
The
to
good news is
anyway.
we're not included in the plans yet, so we can do whatever. Anyway, back in the day.
We're probably gonna have to come back anyway to like review, like to tell them and like get our side of the everything here. So I guess let's go to Strong Hands then.
Yep, let's do it.
Okay, you're heading all the way south for Strong.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Probably before that though, I might.
We might have to strong arm him into doing this though.
Yes. Would we want a couple of?
I love Disappointed Brandon. Like Disappointed Brandon's always one of my favorite. Like that faintly amused Disappointed Brandon has been a thing I've seen so much over the course of D&D, and it's like especially when it's at the other end of the table, that just like it's like the PHP.
You always have to chew on the bullshit that just came out of
It's
my
just with
mouth.
the amused but disappointed
It's
look. on his
most
face.
of the time
I just
the
love it so
puns
much.
make the cancer grow, and I can feel it.
I was gonna say like maybe get some out of character, get some cannon fodder to come with us in case we need it.
Well, I mean, if we figure out that they're like scumbags, then I think we just leave and tell
Yeah.
and let the army go and deal with that.
Yeah, that's fair.
problem. If the whole clan is in on it or whatever.
So one thing is, if we meet up with this clan that is possibly in cahoots with the bad guys, how do we? It's a secret. How do we figure that out without telling them our plan, so they can then go back to tell the bad guys?
Well, they
Because
already
we have-
know the plan is to unite and march down south.
Yeah.
So we just need to figure out if they're.
But do they know when? Because technically, even if they know it's a thing, but they don't know when, we still have the element.
Well,
of
we
surprise.
don't really.
We don't have to mention that we've got the other.
We don't really.
we don't have to
the
mention
tactics.
that we have a total of 6 clans at the ready.
Hmm.
I mean, as far as they're concerned, it might just be Braided Hair and Oakwall.
And we're just there to like try and recruit them to the cause. We're not there to discuss the in-depth strategy because we don't know it.
Yeah.
So we're not. We shouldn't really be giving them too much intel, even if they are a bunch of scumbags.
We don't know that. We assume that. It's probably true. We don't know.
And like any good group, the scumbag is probably the person at the top. And so if we can confirm that and find somebody a little below that scumbag to become the new scumbag in charge, they might be a scumbag that's on our side.
Fuck you. All right. Well, start heading down south to Stronghand.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Make the trip.
You can definitely head back that way. It's not like you're not going to you're not going to be jumped in the woods necessarily as you guys are traveling. You guys are weird, but they're like a lot of people around here are partially because you're weird. They're starting to recognize you. So
We stand out. Then it's like, yeah, you stand out. And they've been here a while now.
yeah, you can definitely you can. I mean, you'll be able to find somebody who knows sort of specifically where like Clan Stronghand is and can like give you guys good directions there. So you can definitely go.
All right. Yeah. Once we have the directions, just immediately head over or start heading out. And then on our way back after we've confirmed or denied or recruited or not, we'll hit the long axe. So,
Yeah, sounds good.
there's a game plan.
You'll be like once again you're like headed south kind of into deeper forest and a little bit more kind of lowlands. It won't be temperature isn't really going to improve. It's just like starting to like turn into autumn, and like the nights in particular are starting to get colder, and the days are much cooler, even now than they were when you guys were traveling to get up here. And Stronghand is like almost right on the coast, and you guys expect probably just a day or two from the wall, kind of the locations you guys have been given. And it's kind of a like, it's kind of set in like a pretty heavily forested area. It's kind of an area. It's kind of an inset in some cliffs. That's all pretty thickly forested. That's like where the clan itself is camping. So they're mostly approachable from kind of just a couple of directions. It's hard. You can't you wouldn't necessarily be able to encircle them. And they're just a mile or so from the coast itself. You guys can when the wind shifts right, you in particular can smell the sea breeze.
That's nice.
Yeah,
All this pine is making my nose miss and crave the smell of sea breeze.
And they call it pine.
I guess once we find a way down, just start making just go straight to it.
Yeah, you know how to get there through the forest.
I'm assuming we're not going to be met by scouts again like this last time.
You are, but they don't necessarily guide you into camp. It's just they make it clear that you've been spotted.
Yeah.
But they don't necessarily they don't they don't approach.
I spy with my little eye a group of weirdos.
They just they make it very clear that they're there and that they know that you are as well. But they don't attempt to arrest you, I guess, or accost you in any way. So you can walk down into the actual camp.
Alright, cool.
Marching on in.
See,
Let's have a talk.
yeah, hopefully it goes well.
It's always the hope.
I'm assuming same thing as normal, just once again running, the chief is there, or...
Well, you guys are actually met part way by a couple of dwarves who seem more just like warriors. Mm-hmm. And you guys are kind of brought to a longhouse, essentially. You are not met part way by a clan chief. You guys are met and brought to him, and you are asked to leave your weapons at the door.
Wouldn't part a young dwarf from his walking stick now, would you?
A young jacked dwarf from his beating stick.
I am a weapon. I say, and my sword.
Then you'll have to leave him at the door too.
Shut up, Tersius.
I got a lot to hand over, but yeah.
I'll have random shit. You hold these and these and these.
My brother gave me this. Don't lose it.
They don't understand what you say to them.
I look very intently at them.
But they understand that they're they understand that you are attempting to impress on them that this one in particular I want back.
I killed a man for this one.
I killed a man with this one.
Yeah,
and this one, and this one, and this one.
Ooh, and this one. Good
I bludgeoned 3 people with this one as a hand my staff.
But it's just a walking stick.
It's just a walking stick.
You are allowed into... Once you have disarmed, you are allowed into the Warhouse.
Alright.
To meet with Urad the Left-Handed, clan chief of Stronghand. Who's not especially old, not especially young, not quite as jacked as some of the other dwarfs that you guys have met. Still fit, still obviously a warrior, but definitely not necessarily arrayed in finery, but like Melkon, the clan chief of War Dog, he was shirtless, but he wore like a gold like armlet on each side. Urad wears like his clothes seem a little more almost pompous. His like he wears a little bit more.
Yeah, he's a
silver.
narc.
He is a total narc. Ugh.
Oh, great! Look at this guy. Yep, he's the guy we're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
Shit. All right. See what we can do here.
And he'll motion for you to be seated by the fire.
I'll take a seat. Join me. War Chief Urad. I'm Wolf Thorenson, formerly of Clan Oakwall. Keep this short. The time is almost near for us to force the scourge that is the Empire out of our lands. I've been brought back home by the gods to help make sure this happens. I have been, informed that you have been fairly quiet on the matter, on whether or not you would lend your hand or warriors for this battle.
Quiet. I feel like I've been quite clear that I will not join with Geltry.
From what?
You said no, but not a reason.
Yeah. Okay. Well. Any particular reason why? I'm not one to trust Galtrim either, if that's your worry, but...
The man's a fool. We send our warriors to fight with him, and we won't get any of them back. I don't trust any of his plans. I don't trust any of his motives. The Curians might be afraid of him. At least if any of the rumors going around are true. But he's nowhere near as frightening as the Empire thinks. He can't be trusted. And he won't bring anything good for anyone.
Can I make an insight while he's talking?
Sure.
Not going off of what he's saying at all, but just like
body
is
language?
this the body language of somebody who is trying to impress something, or just
Sure.
somebody speaking candidly?
Sure.
Decent roll. 14?
14. You think he's like... It's a bit of column A, a bit of column B.
Okay.
Like, this is a smug asshole. The way he's speaking sounds almost rehearsed. It's hard to tell what he's saying, but you think he's like... He's probably not just talking out his ass, like he's like any good con man or person in this position. He's probably taking a lot of elements of truth to make the lie more believable. But like, just from like standing in like some of it's the way he sits. It's just the way he talks is like, it's like, this guy's kind of a smug piece of shit.
This guy's kind of gentrified. This guy's kind of like a Curian dwarf.
Yeah.
It's not quite that far, but he just like, there is just something like
Off.
he like, you get the impression that he feels like he's profoundly clever.
I'm gonna, because we're kind of in the background of them talking. I'm just gonna lean to you, and in Elven, I'm going to say, I think he's lying. Don't know what he's saying, but I think he's lying.
If he is working with the other side, what do you think he gets from this? Why?
Riches?
Riches, be able to survive without being accosted.
Promise that if,
Does this area seem so much more overwhelmingly nice than all the other places that we've been? Though.
what do you mean?
It's probably not a thing of the area's nice. It's probably a thing of once this is over, if the Empire is won, they'll leave his clan be, and
they'll put him in a position of power.
Yeah.
And beyond that is probably a lot of him personally profiting and getting a lot of things
Do you
in
think
order to keep his clan
that
quiet.
more, instead of them coming to him as a spy or whatever you want to call it, at this point, you think that he would have been one of the reasons that the land got turned over in the first place? That a lot of the Dwarven land was taken over because...
Well, right now a lot of it's the halflings who have their land taken. The dwarves have fought back enough to where they haven't really intruded yet on the
The dwarves were scary enough that they built a wall across the island and said, "Don't go north of that."
Yeah.
Scary dwarves live up there. I don't think it goes that deep. I think this is a guy who's profiting off of...
He's
I
in the
don't-
pockets right now.
Mhm.
This would be such a low-level person, though, because the only thing they gain is they have a person on the inside for the dwarves. That's it.
Well,
But
they also
the
confirm
one
of
thing
clans
that's-
isn't going to help.
Yeah, and the one thing that's concerning about this is exactly like they have that insight, but the question is how deep in their pockets is he, because he's not willing to go and get them the information. Like
That's what I'm saying. Like, it could, if he did anything extra than what he was doing, then yes, I would agree. But it's not like he's traveling. The area that they live in isn't better. It's like,
Well, they might not be paying for him to be a double agent. They might just be paying for his neutrality. They're just paying for him to not help. And so they
Yeah.
don't have a unified dwarven army attacking them.
but like paying him in the future, because it doesn't seem like he's doing all that great right
Well,
now.
he's got his fancy clothes. This dude's a pompous ass. He just wants his fancy clothes and
Yeah.
his jewelry and his,
I don't
his
know.
fine meats and wines. And
That
then
makes
they give
sense.
him that and he stays fat and happy and doesn't help fight the war effort. I feel
I
like...
mean, easy life, I guess, is a payment that everyone would accept. I don't know. It feels like if he was to take a deal like that, he could potentially be a big deal with what his knowledge, and it's not. Something feels like it's missing. Like,
there's something missing. Maybe their deal right now is for neutrality, and he has been informed. Like if any information is to come of this, he is to send it away.
also, isn't this the location that's closest to the wall?
Yes.
Wouldn't it be easy to try and like have a tunnel or something under the wall to get to this area so they could get through without having to worry about the wall? At least that would be...
Might be something. I think...
Even if that's a long shot, it's still...
What we could do... I mean, I don't know. I can't really, out of character, communicate this idea, and that'd be very fair.
I guess we
You guys are still
pause.
speaking in Dwarven, I assume.
Yeah.
Also, I'm not 100% that they don't know Elvish, but it's okay.
I assume he doesn't speak Elvish.
Yeah.
I assume he does speak Common,
Yeah.
but I assume he doesn't speak Elvish.
I'll just kind of look back and be like, well, I agree for the most part. Giltrum's a fool who, to be reasonable, wouldn't have gotten as far with it as he would have normally. But at this point in time, it's almost imperative now to strike while we can, as long as we have some help. Galstrom's been able to get the help from a couple clans, and obviously some are still waiting.
Which clans have agreed to help?
Now the question is, which land? I'll only tell them of the 4 that we were told. We won't mention the other.
Maybe add one to it.
Which one?
Like to say that the Raven clan or that another one joined, because out of character, this is a little cheesy, but I think a really good thing we could try and do to confirm this is give him some piece of information and then try and intercept a messenger he sends to give that information to them.
Smart,
I think he's trying to pry information from me because he thinks he's super clever, but we could use that against him.
When he asked me the clans, can I roll an insight to see if I can pick up?
You absolutely can roll one insight.
Oh, it's a 12.
12? It's hard to tell, like, specifically. I mean, you guys kind of came in here with a bad feeling about the guy. That
Yeah.
hasn't gone away. You're not sitting here talking to this guy now and you're like, you know what? I think actually this guy's super trustworthy. That, like, uneasy feeling has not, like, decreased in the slightest.
Well, so far, the clans I've joined are Braided Hair, Forestborn, and Fair Eye. And just recently we were able to get War Dog to join in our efforts.
Ah, War Dog. Guess someone trusts the fool.
Trust is a strong word. They just are willing to help for the means and willing to deal with Giltrum later if necessary.
Well, you can tell Giltrum that I'm still not, without specifics, without actually understanding what his plan is, I'm not willing to help. I'm not going to throw my warriors away south of the wall.
It's understandable. Wouldn't be asking any other way. I'll be like, yeah, I was gonna be like, is it okay if I send my companions back outside? Just no need for them to hear the rest of this. They don't even understand what's going on anyway.
As long as they don't wander off.
They'll stay right outside. And I'll kind of motion for you two to head out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Going outside, will they give us our shit back?
Once you're outside the longhouse, you can
Strap it on and just kind of sit out there and kind of act like, kind of, again, talking in Elvish to you. Just be like, I'm going to talk to you in Elvish so that they don't know what we're saying. And hopefully we'll just kind of have, conversation here. But what I think we should do is keep an eye out as their conversation ends and see if we can see anything of, like, conversing, somebody getting on horseback to take news, like, just start keeping an eye out for what's going on around here.
Just once I send them out, just kind of relay my last thought. I'll just kind of wrap up quick and be like, while I understand the need for not wanting to throw your warriors away like that, there comes a point where you need to decide what side of, I don't want to say what side of history, like where are you willing to be when all of this is said and done? And I'll leave it at that.
Intellectually?
I'll get my shit. And I'll just look at the words, be like, we good to go? You gonna follow us out? Or?
I mean, they'll, like, kind of escort you to the edge of the camp. They're not going to, like, necessarily follow you any farther than that. But you guys are, like, leaving the camp. They'll follow along just that far.
We wait for a messenger,
Mm-hmm.
intercept them. I think maybe it is an informant.
Yeah.
Because especially when he's asking, if you like kind of relay the conversation with this, like especially if he's asking you, like, I won't join until I have the plans, like that's prying for information.
Well, and then asking for the specific clans,
Mm-hmm.
the main reason why I said War Dog and not White Raven, because if they're still of the beliefs that the gods are not there, he would probably give the Empire false hope.
It's more. It's easier to believe that people that we get more muscle than you would like religious support.
Yeah.
And the War Dogs joining is the bigger piece of intel.
Mm-hmm.
They're warriors.
Yeah.
Which also means
Who also
make sure
don't-
if there is a messenger that we stop that shit.
Mm-hmm.
Part of me still like. Do you think they're going to take the path? Do you think a messenger is going to take the path and try and
Might move along the coast. I mean, we can choose whatever would be the most logical path for them to take to get to head south towards the wall.
Since they're the closest, all they need to do is know the direction. They don't necessarily need to follow the path. If they had another path, they had a secret path, they had a
If
tunnel.
we stay close, we can see from where they're leaving.
Yeah.
We don't have to hit them too far away.
Yeah, so where are you guys going to try and be for this?
There's not forest necessarily just outside of the city, right? Like it's pretty open for a while.
No, there's this place is pretty thickly forested. It's kind of set into this like big kind of almost like almost box canyon, but like not quite that deep, like in the cliff.
Gotcha.
But it's like the top of the cliff, the whole area around it, like it's all pretty thickly forested.
Someone.
Does it seem like someone can move along the coastline?
Dude,
The coast
we can
is,
all go to a different
if you
area.
just follow the cliff, you would hit the coast. It's about a mile away.
Okay.
We can all go to a different area and communicate. Because
Oh, we have the
message
books. Your message tones.
So I think it would probably be
But you
better.
can't read in the dark.
I think it would be better in this instance.
You can light a torch.
If I'm far enough away, I guess.
I think it'd be better in this instance for you two to stay and watch for this, while I travel towards the Long Axe.
I think we only need one person to stay and watch and to give intel to the other two. And have the other two kind of in the spread.
Who has the
position.
better notice here?
I got a +3 in perception.
Well, you can't see in the dark. Let's go with you.
I have
Is it-
Mine's only a +1.
Because if they travel at night, we need somebody with night
Mhm.
night vision.
I can kind of stay nearby
Or dark
and try
vision.
and keep an eye on it. And then if they leave, I can kind of write out a direction, more of like they're moving along the coast, they're moving this way. And I can try and trail. It depends on if they're on horseback or what. Like how quick they're going to be moving.
Fair enough.
And you two
And
can...
and if we're farther ahead and they somehow escape from you, you can tell us, hey. come
And
this
then
way.
we'll relay information and be
Mhm.
like, well, we're going to need to count for another group.
Well,
Alright.
unfortunately, I think we should probably call it there
Yeah.
for this episode. I would like to keep going, but this one's already
Little long.
even with just us, bullshitting for however long before the recording started. I don't want it to end up
2 hours
too
long.
long. Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, you guys seem to have at least something of a plan.
Mhm.
I think you guys have learned a lot over this episode and just like really the past couple.
Can't wait to bash that pompous douchebag. It's
Yeah.
going to be real easy because you know he's just got
All pompous people have a soft spot in their head. It's right
there.
It's
It's this.
this whole thing.
But,
If you hit anybody in the head hard enough, they've got a soft spot. Any head is a soft spot if you really take a swing at it.
Every head is just a soft spot that we haven't made yet.
yes.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what happens over the course of these next couple episodes. You guys are kind of once again gearing up for war.
Mhm.
It's just kind of what you assholes do these days, I guess.
Yeah.
Show up on the front line somewhere and just start kicking shit over.
Yep.
Yep.
Kick the tires and light the fires.
That's right.
Oh, hey, speaking of the fires, did you guys see that Fallout Boy released?
This is
We
for a
didn't-
conversation.
Oh,
Let's do an outro. Then we can say something about.
If you're interested in this kind of content, we've got a lot of very similar stuff on the channel, from Star Wars RPG system to Savage Worlds to a little bit of Metroville, which we keep talking about how we need to play more of because it's just a fantastic kind of indie superhero RPG, as well as reviews and kind of podcast stuff, and just like a little bit of everything, I guess.
You like nerd hobby stuff? We got that nerd hobby stuff.
Got all sorts of nerd hobby stuff. So thank you all so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.